Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So here we're talking YellowJackets episode 2. I'm sorry for the lateness on this video. It's coming out a day late. I talked about it in the last video why it's late. Just a very busy weekend for me. And, it's okay to be a little late, but, I'm not only doing it for the views, but, just putting out a video on the day the episode comes out. It's just there's more hype around it. Collectively everyone's watching it together. And, putting out a video a day later, the hype has just come down a little bit. So we're going to talk about YellowJackets episode 2, like I said. And, I'm going to do a quick recap, but I'm going to, structure it a little bit differently than some of my other recaps. I want to talk about it from, what I think is the most interesting storyline. And there's, 3 main storylines in this episode. So I want to start by talking about Misty and her storyline, and then go into Natalie and Misty, Natalie and future Misty. And then I'll go into Shauna and then Taisha. And then we'll end with some theories to talk about, and I'll give you guys my rating for it and a quick little review. So make sure you like this video. If you guys end up enjoying it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new. And let's get into YellowJackets episode 2. So the episode begins with a plane crash. We see that many passengers actually don't make it. In a very well done scene, we see some pretty brutal images. We see, someone's on fire. We see debris falling on someone. I was just very taken aback by the brutality of that scene. For a TV show, so well done. And, starting out the episode like that was just an excellent opening. And so from there, we see the girls trying to help each other out of the plane. Jackie saves Shauna, and then Jackie wants to also save Vaughn, who is stuck in her seat. But as the flames start inching closer, Shauna kind of is able to convince Jackie to save herself instead, and they leave her there. This decision will be huge for these characters for the rest of the show. It sort of reminded me of a video game decision, like how sometimes you play a video game, they give you a decision to do this or do that to save that character, and whatever you do will sort of affect your whole, gameplay for the rest of the video game. I sort of got that same thing here for Jackie, and so Vaughn somehow survives the plane crash, and she, she's not forgetting about what just happened, and like I said, with these characters, we're going to see that tension come back probably in almost every episode between Vaughn and Jackie. And so, but the real star of this episode is Misty, talking about past Misty in the woods right now. She seems to know how to survive, and she seems to know the most about healthcare. She's the one that realizes that Coach Ben's leg has to be amputated right away. She wastes no time in grabbing an axe and just chopping it off. And another, chilling scene with the blood splatter. The show just looks amazing. I will say that. It's very well looking show. If you guys have 4K, I'm watching in 4K right now. But just the way things are looking, it looks great. And even later on in the episode, just wrapping up Misty's storyline, like I said, I want to do it in a different order. She overhears Vaughn and Laura Lee talking about her, saying that they would all have died without her being there. And so this is big for her, since in the beginning of the episode, we see a flashback with Misty. She gets a phone call from some girls or whatever. And, this just proves that she's an outcast as they ask her about, anal or whatever. If you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to go into details about the anal conversation. But just prove that Misty is an outcast. She looks down upon. And so it's cool how, the roles are now reversed in this different setting. She's now, the alpha. And I'm excited to see, how that character is going to play out for the rest of this show. And so from there, Misty notices the flight recorder box. And the red light is flashing, which means that it's still working. So the flight recorder box, for you guys that don't know, it's designed to record the plane's operating data. So in the event that there was a crash, the plane can be tracked. So the fact that Misty then destroys the box, ripping out the insides, it just shows that she realizes the power that she has on this island that she didn't have in a normal society. So I think her decision there to do that was, one, insane, but also really cool for her character. And, we know that the girls get off the island anyway, right? But it's 19 months from this point that we see them at in this episode. So the fact, that it takes so long for them to get rescued is because this decision right here, because Misty ripped out the flight recorder box, so they get rescued by some other way when they would have been picked up a lot sooner. So I'm very interested in seeing if the kids find out while they're in the woods that Misty did this, or if this is still a secret that is carried into even in the 2021 timeline. So that is it for past Misty for now, but we will get back to her after I do the recap of some of the other storylines. But so now, present day Natalie threatens present day Misty now in the year 2021 at gunpoint. That's how their storyline starts out. And it's because Natalie received a postcard with a mysterious symbol on it. This symbol is obviously related to whatever happened in the woods. because as we see in one scene, one of their coaches is impaled on top of a tree. The son tries to go up and get his dad. The branch falls down, and we see that on the trunk of the tree, the same symbol from the postcard is carved into that tree. So Natalie thinks Misty is the one who sent out the card, but Misty said that she also got a copy. We also know that Taisha and Shauna also got one too. Misty could have easily been the one who sent out the postcards, to maybe feel important again. I could see that. As we see with the box later on this episode, she will go to great lengths to feel important, right? So maybe her bringing up the wood stuff as adults is her way of kind of bringing it all back because she misses it maybe, right? But for now, we'll think that she didn't. She's not the one who did it. But they're obviously, they're keeping some sort of secret, right? So did someone talk about the secret? That's what Natalie sort of brings up. Who else could have known about that symbol? So it also leaves the question of, like, who do you guys think did it? You guys have any theories? I don't know if I'm on board with Misty being the one who sent out the postcards. I don't fully believe it, but it's also very likely that she would be. But I just don't know. Maybe someone from the past comes back that they think is dead. That we'll see. I'm just not sure yet. But if you guys have any theories on the symbol and who sent the postcard, let me know down in the comments. But let's continue. So from here, Natalie and Misty go to some bar to look over research. She tracked down Travis, who's been managing to keep himself hidden for a very long time. Travis and Natalie obviously have some sort of relationship, as we see in a flashback. She tries to comfort him about his brother Javis, and he tells her to mind her own business. And so, that's just sort of what happens there in the flashback and as they meet in the bar. And then at the end of the episode, we see that Natalie wants to go see him in person, or at least she tries to. She starts up the car. The car doesn't work. Misty just happens to show up right as Natalie is realizing the car's not working. This is obviously all just a setup by Misty so that Natalie can rely on her for the ride. So at the end of the episode, it shows Natalie and Misty going on a road trip to go see Travis in person. So now for Shauna's storyline, and Shauna's she's got an interesting storyline in this one. We start on 2021 with her. She and her husband Jeff are having marriage troubles. Jeff is also Jackie's boyfriend in the past, 1996. Jackie and Jeff are currently dating, so obviously that will bloom into Shauna and Jeff end up getting married, as we'll probably see. Maybe, I don't know if we'll see that come into fruition. I think the past will focus more on the woods, but maybe towards the back end we'll see the Shauna and Jeff thing going on. And so the therapist says to try using fantasies to spice up their sex life since they're having troubles. Jeff's fantasy is having a customer come into the store. And, Shauna and Jeff, their first attempt doesn't go so well. And so later on, Shauna, she's like cooking up dinner. She sees a rabbit outside. So she kills the rabbit and turns it into chili. She obviously knows this and is used to it from her time in the woods. I guess she's learned how to hunt, learned how to kill. It's like second nature to her probably. And so we see her rear end some guy. She's attracted to him, obviously, and all this makes her want to give the fantasy with Jeff another go, right? So the second attempt with her and Jeff goes well. They end up doing it. Jeff goes to take a shower. While he's in the shower, Shauna checks his phone. She sees that Jeff has a text from someone named Bianca, who's telling him to meet up at the same place. And, this obviously means that Jeff is having an affair. Probably. It's not confirmed, but Jeff is probably having an affair. So this obviously gives Shauna an excuse to hook up with Adam, who's the person that she rear-ended. In the episode, Adam calls her because Shauna never called him. And, he turns out to be like the mechanic of the store that she would have called or whatever. And so he says that he'll fix the van if she agrees to dinner. Shauna ends up turning him down, even though she obviously sort of wants to. And then her storyline sort of ends with her doing it with Jeff again. Which, in the next, I think the preview for next episode shows Shauna and Adam together or something like that. So she's obviously going to go do that. I think she's going to end up banging him or whatever, right? And maybe we'll find out more about Jeff and Bianca. And so now the other storyline is with Taisha. Is that your name? Taisha, I think. And we see her wife Simone and their son Sammy. So Sammy's having some troubles at school. He's having trouble making friends. At first, Taisha blows it off, saying that she used to be a loner too. It's not that big of a deal. But it turns out, it is kind of a big deal. Sammy is acting sort of weird. We see that he likes to hang out in his room in complete darkness during the day. And he also has some pretty disturbing drawings covering his window. He says that he did the drawings to keep the woman from the tree outside his window from watching him. Yeah, and so this will somehow relate to whatever happened to Taisha in the woods somehow, right? I just don't know yet. And Taisha's storyline, when it first started, I was sort of like, and this storyline's not that interesting, right? You know, we got to figure out like Sammy's being weird. It's like, all right, like how could that be linked to the woods thing? And then once the drawings popped up, I was like, oh shit, like that's kind of crazy. Like how the heck does the kid is also linked to the woods somehow, you know? So that's gonna be very interesting to play out. And I think that's kind of like everything that happened in the episode that I want to touch upon. And I'll give you guys my rating for the episode right now. I'm giving it a 3.6 out of 5. You guys may actually like the episode even more. The reason 3.6 out of 5, you know, like I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't think it was like, you know, like the episode didn't blow me away. You know, it was great. I thought it was really fun. You know, and I'm liking it a lot, you know, honestly. Like, it's actually, there's a lot to discuss and theorize about when I didn't know, like, if this show was going to have that or not. Because if the show was just about them surviving in the woods, you know, and just watching that play out and then, like, seeing, like, their PTSD in the future, I think there wouldn't have been, like, too much to discuss or theorize because we just have to see how it all plays out, right? But because there are all these different storylines going on, you know, with the postcard, like, who's sending the postcard, even Shauna with, like, Bianca and stuff like that, like, even the stuff that's, like, not linked to the woods is, like, still linked to, like, what happened in the woods. And it makes for some, you know, really great television. Like, it really does. All the wood stuff was great. I love watching that. I love seeing like, the girls even bond over the fire. Has a nice little vibe. Seeing Misty, her character, she's turned into like one of the most interesting characters for me. Even Shauna's stuff with the sexual things, even though like, you know, the sex stuff was like fine. It just her character, like, it was just entertaining. You know, like even if it wasn't like moving the central plot forward. It just made for some pretty comical television at times. So I thought that was really good. And like I said, Taisha's stuff sort of like bored me a little bit in the beginning, but then as we see with the drawings, it turned out to be a really cool storyline. And then, like I said, Misty being all weird, her destroying the box was insane. That's the main takeaway, right? That ending of her destroying the box. And that's the most important question I think for me is just finding out if the girls find out in the woods, or if they still don't know that she did that. Because if they still don't know that Misty destroyed the box, then that's going to come back and bite her in the ass. And maybe she is the one sending out the postcards because, as we see with her destroying the box, she, you know, wants to be important. She wants to not be an outcast. And her in the woods is like where she thrived. You know, she doesn't thrive in this society. She thrives in this like survival mode thing where everyone has to rely on her to survive. So maybe she wants to go back to that, like I said. But let me know what you guys thought of the episode. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the show. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking it a lot. And I really enjoyed making this video. I think this is a fun little recap. I love the style of the structure that I decided to go with. So please make sure you like this video if you guys are enjoying it. Please make sure to subscribe for new. Thank you guys for watching so much. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you all in the next video.